In the morning when I rise, give me Jesus.
Good morning. When we last left Joseph, he was locked up in prison. We're in Genesis chapters 41 and 42 today. And you remember Joseph told Pharaoh's cupbearer to, when you go back, tell him about me. Tell him that I interpreted your dream accurately. Well, the cupbearer forgot to do that. So Pharaoh had a dream. And he called all his smart people together and said, tell me what this dream means. And nobody could tell him. And the cupbearer remembered then. And so Pharaoh calls for Joseph. And Pharaoh says, surely you can tell me my dream. And I want you to look at chapter 41, verse 16. Joseph then answered Pharaoh, saying, it is not in me. I can't interpret your dream. But listen to this. God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer. God can answer your dream. Oh, I've heard many people have dreams and they go to a book to read the interpretation, or they ask other people what is the interpretation. Now, whether you get it out of a book or whether somebody tells you, or whether you're on your knees before God, if you want a dream interpreted, God's the one that has to interpret it. And he did interpret the dream, and here it was. You're going to have 7 years of really rich crops, but then you're going to have 7 years of virtually nothing, 7 years of famine. In fact, it's going to be so dramatic that the years of abundance will be forgotten. He said, you need to put somebody in charge of this so you can save during the years of abundance for the sake of the years of lean. And so Pharaoh said, Joseph, I want you to be in charge. And so he put him in charge, and look at this. It's verse 42 of chapter 41. Pharaoh took off his signet ring from his hand, and he put it on Joseph's hand. And he clothed Joseph in garments of fine linen, and he put a gold necklace around his neck, and he had a big parade, and he told everybody, this guy, except for me, is in charge of Egypt. And you do whatever he says. Well, he gave Joseph a bride. Joseph was 30 years old when all this happened. And from his new wife, he had 2 children, Manasseh and Ephraim. We'll hear about them later. And he went throughout Egypt, preserving the abundance, so that when the lean years came, they would have food. Well, the lean years did come, and they were so lean that it wasn't just in Egypt, it was in Canaan as well. And so Jacob, Joseph's father, who Joseph hasn't seen for over 10 years, and Jacob thinks that Joseph is dead, Jacob says, boys, I want you to go to Egypt. I hear they have food, and buy some food for us, otherwise we're going to perish. Well, all the brothers except for Benjamin were sent to Egypt. And who do they have to go to buy food? But Joseph. And so they go to Joseph, and look at this. It's in chapter 42 and verse 6 and 7, and they say this. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. Remember, that was Joseph's dream, and sure enough, it's happening just as he saw it in the dream. Verse 7, and when Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them, but he disguised himself from them. So Joseph knew it was his brothers, and he had conversation. How is your father? And do you have any other brothers? Because he knew of Benjamin. And so he wanted to see how Benjamin was doing. So here's the deal he made with them. You leave one of you guys here, and the rest of you go back and bring to me your younger brother, and then I'll know you're not a spy, and I'll give you even more food. This deal was hard on them. And look at verse 21 of chapter 42. Then they said to one another, truly we are guilty concerning our brother, because we saw the distress of his soul when he pleaded with us, and yet we would not listen. Therefore his distress has now come upon us. So one of the biggest lessons out of this story at this point is how when we don't walk according to the direction of God, guilt will grab a hold of us. It had been over 10 years since they sold Joseph to that passing caravan, and yet they still carried the burden of the guilt. God doesn't want us to be caught up in that way. And so let go of the past, recognize how God has paid for that so that you can move forward without a burden of guilt. Well, they left Simeon and they went back and they said to their father, asking for us to bring Benjamin, and if I bring Benjamin, then we can get Simeon back and we'll get more food. And so Jacob said, this is too hard on me. Joseph is gone. Now Simeon is gone. It will kill me if I were to lose Benjamin. So Jacob says no, and that's where we'll leave it today. Oh, I hope you can't wait to know what's going to happen. So go ahead and read ahead, because tomorrow we're in chapters 43 through 45, and we'll pick it up there when we get together. I look forward to that. In the meantime, God bless you as you spend time with the Lord today.
Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. You can have all this world. Give me Jesus.